Our San Juan County Commissioner Bruce Adams. And County Commissioner, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me on.
So is the Secretary hanging out with you yet?
He hasn't arrived yet. He's supposed to be here shortly.
We are scheduled to talk with the governor at about 10:35. We talked with Rob Bishop a little earlier today. This is a very significant moment to have the Secretary of the Interior, someone who is a self-professed lover of the public lands. He doesn't believe in transfers, but he says he is welcome. He is, how did he word it exactly? He is willing to look at whether or not proper procedures and whether or not modifications have to be made. And for the next 45 days, actually a little less than that, he is out there tasked by the president to really eyeball all of this stuff and put together recommendations. So when the secretary comes, maybe you could tell us what is the plan when he hits the ground there in your neck of the woods.
Well, first of all, you said this is a big deal. This is the biggest thing that has happened in San Juan County in my lifetime. It affects the future of San Juan County. It affects our economy, our school children, and the people. And so we really want to thank the Trump administration for sending Secretary Zinke out here. We want to tell our story. So when he gets here, we'll begin to tell that story. Today, he's going to do a flyover of the entire monument and look at the vastness of what has been created. We will also be hiking to one of the most iconic ruins in the county. We're going to hike to the House on Fire ruin, and he's going to be meeting with the people.
You mentioned when I chatted with you last time, Commissioner, that you might be on horseback. Is that still going to happen?
That is going to happen, but it won't happen today. It'll happen tomorrow.
Now, there was a big dilemma last time you and I chatted. As I'm sure you recall, the Secretary indicated that he needs a big hoss and something 17 hands or better. And if I remember correctly, you were coming up with a 16-hand hoss. Any bigger horse found yet for the Secretary?
Yep, I was able to do it with the help of my cowboy friends in San Juan County. We came up with a 17-hand horse and a mighty mount for the Secretary.
That is going to be an amazing photo op. I'm looking forward to seeing some of those pictures. I mentioned this with our 1st District Congressman a little earlier, Rob Bishop, that I keep hearing over and over that Native American people have not been heard. They haven't had their place at the table, and that Secretary Zinke has heard that. He's been welcomed by protests from some who feel that they have not had a place at the table. But yet at the same time, I know that the Aneth chapter of the Navajos, who actually live in this particular area, and this will most directly, of all of the Native American tribes or chapters out there, it will affect them the most. How do you respond, Commissioner, when people do make the accusation that, well, Native Americans, their voices are being ignored?
I think that the Secretary's actions speak for themselves. He met with the Tribal Coalition at the BLM office in Salt Lake yesterday. We hope that he'll have a chance to meet with some of the Native Americans from Aneth while he's here in the next 2 days, and we'll encourage him to do that.
Tell us about, you mentioned the most iconic ruin in all of San Juan County is where the Secretary will be taken to so he can see this. Describe
Let me correct myself, Doug. It's one of the most.
Yeah.
We have a number of iconic ruins, but this one's a real beauty.
I may have misstated your words there, so I'll take the rap on that. Tell us what he's actually going to see.
Well, this ruin is shaped like a mushroom. It's about a 1-mile hike to get into it. It has dwellings in it. And over time, Mother Nature has created a mosaic on the rocks that looks like the ruins and the house is on fire, flames coming up from the ruins up across the rock. It's just magnificent. I would encourage you to go online and just Google "house on fire," and you can see a bunch of those beautiful pictures.
You know, we ought to bring that up on our screen here. Maybe we could do that. Yeah, we're working on that right now. We, on our KSL Newsradio.com page, we can bring up some of these images so those that are watching online could, and I'd like to refresh my memory. I'm not sure if I've seen that or not, Commissioner. What is your highest hope, and the other commissioners, whether it's, Rebecca or Phil, what are your highest hopes as representatives of the county of San Juan? What do you hope the Secretary ultimately does, and what he walks away with today and over the next several days?
We hope that he will see what we are dealing with as a county. We're a county that has 8% private property, so 92% of this property is managed by a government entity of some kind. We hope he will see how the federal government has overreached and oppressed us here. The second thing we hope he will see is what is the future? What is the future of San Juan County's economy? We're the highest rate of unemployment in the state. We're over 117% higher than any place else in the state of Utah. We hope he sees that. We hope he looks at the school children and what they've got to look forward to in the future, and then we just really want him to see the wonderful people of San Juan County and how passionate they are about this beautiful country that we live in, and how passionate they are about caring for this wonderful place.
Commissioner, have you had any communication or kind of compared notes or commiserated a little bit with your comparables up there in Garfield County, because Grand Staircase is also going to be reviewed?
We have. We've talked to them. We've also talked to our friends to the east in Colorado, where they have a monument over near Cortez. Both of those commissioners have indicated that they have struggled economically because of the monument designations, that it has impacted the school children in a very negative way. I think Escalante has, they're down to about 53 kids in their school from well over 150 kids. It just has not been a pretty picture for those folks, either to the west of us or the east of us, and it's placed undue burden on the county's resources, and it affects people in an emotional way to know that the eyes of an oppressive government is on them all the time.
Commissioner, I've really appreciated our conversations, and after the Secretary meets with you folks and you show him around the county, I'd like to be able to chat again, so I hope you don't mind if we'll ring your phone one more time, or maybe 2 or 3 more times.
I'd love to talk to you, Doug. You're one of my favorite hosts.
I appreciate that, and I'm glad you were able to find that 17-hand hoss for the Secretary.
We'll be sure you get pictures.
I'm looking forward to that, Commissioner. Thank you for joining us here on the Doug Wright Show at KSL News Radio.